Enjoying all of the excitement that I know your family is saying, oh, school is wonderful. I'm learning so much. But just in case you've hit a few hiccups, we have some wonderful people joining us today that's going to help eliminate those hiccups. I'm Marilyn Bartlett Jackson, the coordinator here at the Parent Resource Center. And again, just happy 2024 school year, 2024-25 school year.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Labrisha Lane. I'm a parent educator here at the Parent Resource Center. Thank you so much for joining us. And in the chat, there is a link for you to sign in. Please do that. And this session is recorded and will be reposted on our website in the next week or two. All right, and then we also have Mrs. Nicole Howard Francis. She's also on here. She's also a parent educator for family and community engagement. So she'll be interacting with you all throughout this session in the chat.
And before we leave today, in the chat, will you just share with us the best way that you got the information about the in-service today? Was it through the text this morning, or you knew prior to the reminder text that was sent out this morning? And that helps us have an idea of what works best. All right.
All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. We have our curriculum specialist extraordinaire expert on today, Mr. Roger Vance. Yes, all of those adjectives. Mr. Roger Vance, and he's going to be sharing for us information pertaining to the first 9 weeks for middle school. So Roger, the floor is yours. The mic is yours.
Thank you very much. Way too much of an introduction. You guys build me up more than I deserve, but I appreciate that. And what a cool thing to see so many parents online today, and such a good crowd. And I really hope this is valuable for you. I'll be on with you for just about 20 minutes, but I hope you know that I'm available to you throughout the year as you have needs related to math instruction, particularly in middle school. I'm in charge of 6th through 12th grade for mathematics, but I'm happy to do whatever I can to serve our parents here in Caddo as you work with us to do the best job that we can for your students. So I want to just give you some tools as we go through today. I don't know if anyone was with me last year when I did one of these presentations. So some of the same things, we've updated a couple of things, obviously updated calendars and that sort of thing to help you as a parent to be able to follow along with where your kids are with regard to math instruction. So thank you again for being here, and thanks to Marilyn and Labrisha for letting me be on here. It's just a privilege to have these opportunities. I'm going to walk you through a few things here. This is something I presented last year for the first time, and I will have to make a confession to you. It wasn't that many years ago where I kind of scoffed when I would hear the term math anxiety. Being sort of a math nerd myself, at least my kids call me that. I just didn't think that could be a real thing. But as I worked with students who were struggling in some different programs around Caddo, I began to see students who were more than capable. And if you just worked with them one-on-one, you would think these were the sharpest kids, and were in many ways the sharpest kids in the district. And yet you'd put them in front of a standardized test, and I would literally see sweat drops rolling down this side of their face, or just shaking, all kinds of crazy things like that I could not relate to. I just couldn't understand that, but I saw it firsthand. And I began to realize that math anxiety for some, not all, but for some, is a reality. And obviously we want to break that by doing better and better each year with our instruction. But in the meantime, I just found this and thought it might be something if you have a child who struggles with math anxiety, and maybe you can even relate to it yourself. Just some things to consider from a family standpoint, and find and play math games. And if you need help with some recommendations on that, I can recommend some of those. Shoot me an email or call me here at the office. Be aware of your child's attitude toward math. This is a problem that we struggle with oftentimes because a lot of people don't like math. A lot of parents don't like math. We weren't successful at it maybe when we were younger, and we sort of have a fearful or even an angry attitude toward it possibly. But, you know, we can help our kids by trying to hide some of that attitude that we might have and help them understand that math can be an important part of their lives. I won't go through my whole story, but I entered ninth grade not being a very good math student. And I can't explain everything to you, except it was primarily due to a teacher who somehow made a connection with me. And where a lot of people said, well, it's too late, he'll never be a math kid. That teacher saw something different and talked me into believing it. And going into that school year, no one would have ever thought that I would be the math supervisor for Caddo Parish Schools. That would have been a joke to anybody who knew me. But that teacher made a connection, made me believe, and it changed the direction of my life. Didn't make me a better person, but it gave me opportunities that my parents didn't have. And so I'm thankful for that. So watch that attitude, practice with your child as much as you feel comfortable doing. And we're going to show you some resources here in a second to help you do that. The fourth one is kind of like the second one. Ditch the idea that some people are not good at math. I disprove that. I prove that anybody can be good at math. Get help early. It's early in the school year still. So if you know that your child is struggling, don't wait. Talk to your child's teacher, the school administration, and again, I'm happy to get involved as needed. And then, you know, shaking off mistakes. What we try to encourage our teachers to do in classrooms is to create a culture where mistakes are welcome. And in fact, as adults, we know that that's really how we learn, right? Is through making mistakes. If everything is just handed to us and easy, we don't really learn a lot through that usually. We have to learn most of our lessons in life by struggle and making mistakes. And we try to foster an environment here in Caddo where mistakes are not ostracized or made fun of in any way, but mistakes are welcomed. And we inspect those mistakes, we respect those mistakes, and we grow and learn from them. I'm always excited to go into some of our middle school math classrooms and see teachers pointing out mistakes in such a positive way where no students are embarrassed or anything like that, and developing that culture where that's how we learn, and those are important things. So that's important. Help us with those things. If you're not familiar with our curriculum, when I first saw this title, I called it Illustrative Mathematics. I was corrected by the British author who said it's illustrative mathematics, not illustrative. So I try to remember to say illustrative. Sounds a little smarter anyway. But it's a curriculum we are in our 7th year of, and we are seeing very positive trends in our student performance on LEAP tests. As a result of this continuity over time, our teachers have become more and more comfortable with teaching from the curriculum. And we just feel like we're in a really good place with middle school math right now. Obviously, we're not where we want to be, but we are moving in the right direction, and we're going to continue to do everything we can to help every student feel like they can do math. But what you're going to see here is we have a students and family web page on our Caddo Math website, or our Caddo Schools website, actually, the whole Caddo Parish School Board website. I'll show you how to get there in a second. But it's going to have some pasting on there, some calendar dates and things like that. And I just put this note on this slide to please note that your child's teacher may not always be in the exact spot indicated on the web page. If they get significantly behind, and significantly, I would say if they're, if you get to Christmas and they're 2 weeks behind, I would start to have a little bit of concern, because, we have that LEAP test in the spring that the state requires us to do, and they don't change those dates if we get behind. They stick to them. And so we try to work with our teachers to stay on pace and do a good job of teaching. Thankfully, our school board this year, kudos to them for approving that we could continue having extended time for middle school math. So every school in Caddo now has 90 to 100 minutes of mathematics. This is the 4th year of that. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to keep that, because it is a cost item. It requires us to have a few additional staff. But the school board saw the results that we've had in middle school mathematics over the past few years and felt like that was worth keeping in place. So I'm super excited about that. And it just gives your teachers and your students and our teachers an opportunity to dig a little deeper, to take their time a little bit, and not feel like they have to rush through the curriculum beyond what some students are able to keeping up with. All right, I just want to, before I even go to that, I'm going to back out of this slideshow, and I want to take you to if I can operate these things properly, to our Caddo Math webpage, because I think what you're going to see here is I hope it's something that puts you in at ease as a parent to say, okay, I've got what I need to help my student right here. Let me get this just right. So as I said, if you go to the Caddo Parish Schools webpage, you can go here. It's right there under departments. And then you can actually go there a couple of ways. You can go to I think that our illustrious parent resource people have linked it in their page under the parent resource page. So if you know how to go there, go there. It's also if I go under departments and then math, I can go there. And what you're going to get to is a students and parents page. There's a few pages there for teachers, and you can see those, and you're actually welcome to go into those. There'll be a few things that are blocked for parents and students, obviously tests and answer keys and things like that. But a lot of that material you can access. You can actually go in and see teacher lesson plans if that's something you're interested in. Our teachers for middle school math pretty much follow the same lesson plans across the district, from Middle Magnet all the way to our schools that are struggling the most, everything in between. We are holding everybody to the same standard. And so the teachers are held to that same standard of teaching kids well. If they're being taught 6th grade math at any school in Caddo, it should look pretty much the same. The tests are the same. So why should we expect any different for any of our students? We want all of them to achieve as high as they possibly can. But if you look at this page, I think if you have any concerns about helping your students with math, I think this will really give you maybe some peace of mind. As I scroll down the page, what you're going to see is the different courses. You may not know we actually technically we have 6 math courses in our Caddo middle schools. Obviously, we have 6th grade math, 7th grade math, and 8th grade math. And that's where the majority of our students go for their courses. But we also have 3 advanced level courses. We have a 6th grade advanced math course, which we just bought new curriculum for last year. It's still illustrative mathematics, but they created some curriculum to go along with this. And I will just tell you, 6th grade advanced math is kind of what it sounds like. It's advanced. It's intended for students who might be considering taking Algebra 1 in the 8th grade. And we have a growing number of middle school 8th graders taking Algebra 1 in the 8th grade. And we're really excited about that. We know it's not for everyone, but we know there are a lot of kids who can get that, and they get a high school credit, Algebra 1 credit under their belt in 8th grade. So they go into high school with that credit already on their transcript, which is a really cool thing and frees up some things in high school, some opportunities for them that they might not have had in high school. But we hope that those kids would start with this advanced math class. Then there's a 7th grade advanced math class. And then if students successfully complete those 2 courses, then we allow them to take Algebra 1 in the 8th grade. Of course, that's pending parent approval. Some parents prefer their kids to stay on the regular path and take Algebra 1 in the 9th grade, and that's perfectly okay. Not going to hurt anybody at all to do that. But we just know some students are more than capable of this accelerated pathway. And we've made that available at all schools now in Caddo. It wasn't available in all schools until just this past year, a couple of years ago. And so now all of our schools are given the same opportunity. We don't have Algebra 1 in all the middle schools yet because we just started this process, but we hope that by the 26-27 school year, we'll have a couple more next year. But then after that, 26-27, all of our middle schools should offer Algebra 1 to 8th graders. We want to have the same opportunities on every campus for every student. So all these resources are here, and you can see it's a lot, but you pick which course your student is in. And then you can see the calendar. I don't know is that too small? Is everybody able to see that okay? Okay. So I can see the calendar, and I can see roughly where my student should be at this point. And then that's important, but what's even more important is the links out to the right. And these links, first of all, the one that says students, that shows you exactly what they have in their student book, their textbook. Then the families page will give parents some help on understanding that unit a little bit better. It's not gonna, we're not asking you to be an expert if that's not something you're comfortable with, but it'll give you some basic things about that unit that might help your student with a homework assignment, or just encouraging them to dig in and work harder at it. Out to the far right, that last link is Khan Academy. I know some of you are familiar with Khan Academy. It's a really cool story as to how that came to be, but that website has links to most of our curriculum lessons. And there are videos with instruction there where you can click on that lesson and click on the video, and there's going to be somebody teach how to work those problems. So that's a pretty cool feature. And then if I scroll on down to the bottom of this page, I've got another resource here. Obviously, those Khan Academy are linked here again, but right above that, there's a resource called Mr. Morgan's Math Help. Mr. Morgan is some guy that teaches somewhere. I want to say maybe Houston, I'm not sure. And he has created a video lesson for every illustrative math lesson there is. And we actually have teachers leave these for substitutes when they're absent sometimes. So the substitute can show the lesson. There'll actually be a teacher teaching the students. It's not a full replacement for having a teacher in person, but it does keep the students online, when the teacher has to be out for something. So those are great helps for parents as well. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff there. There's one more resource at the bottom of this page that most parents don't know about. I didn't even know about it until a few years ago, but it's Homework Louisiana. And this is crazy. I'm actually going to click on this because you got to see this if you haven't already. Free online tutoring, test prep, even job search assistance for high school students. It's crazy. But look at this. Their hours, academic tutoring, 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to midnight. I don't think any other state in the United States or anywhere in the world does this. It's really a pretty cool thing that our State Department set up a few years ago. And there, you just click to get started. They're going to ask for some general information, and then you can set up times to get help for your student. Pretty amazing free resource that our State Department of Education has provided. So just, if I was trying to help my kids with science or English, I would struggle, just like maybe some of you would struggle with helping your kids with math. And my kids are grown, but if I still had kids in school, I just would be leaning on these resources all the time, doing my best to help them in ways or get them the help they need that I can't necessarily provide directly myself, because I'm not an English or a science person as much as I am a math person. So, all right, so I'm going to go back to the presentation and just close it out here. And I want to leave a couple minutes here for questions if we have any. I did put in this presentation, and I don't know if we can share this presentation out. I'd be happy to do that if we can. I'll share it with our two ladies here that are hosting us, and maybe they can share it out with parents, make it available on the website or something. But this will show you where the students are right now. Sixth graders are in the middle of Unit 1, and you can kind of see the topics there. And then through October 2nd, they will be finishing up Unit 2. There are 8 units in all the middle school courses. So that kind of gives you an idea of where they are. And then there, 7th grade, same thing, Unit 1 and Unit 2 are here. 8th grade, Unit 1 and Unit 2. And remember, on the website I just showed you, that information is there as well, even more specific than this. And then if you want to scan a QR code, this will take you directly to that parents page as well. I wanted to give you every opportunity to go there, and it just take you right back to the page we were just looking at. So that's a quick overview of where we are with middle school math right now in Caddo Parish. Again, super excited about where we are and how our students are getting better and better every year. Our teachers are doing a phenomenal job, and I'm here to help. I'm just a support guy. So let me know if there's anything at all that I can do to help you as you work to give your students the best opportunity. At this point, Ms. Bartlett-Jackson and Ms. Lane, I'm done with the presentation part. I'm happy to stay on as long as anybody has questions or concerns, anything that I can help with. Thank you so much again for being here.
Okay, parents, I really would suggest clicking on those links that Mr. Vance showed, because if I need a review, I start with those pages. And I start with the link that says families, because on the families page, it shows me step by step on what maybe I've forgotten, and it helps me. So when I need a review, I start with families. And if you notice, you see the videos there. So that kind of gets me to thinking again, oh, this is what this is about. And then my path is following here, and that shows me what I need to do. And then my next step is after I've done all this, then I go to the students' pages. But My path is starting with the families tab, and then I go to the students, because the families really makes me remember if I've forgotten or if I don't know. It helps me step by step. So definitely utilize those pages.
Excellent job, Roger. We appreciate you. If you all have any questions for Roger, you can put those in the chat. Roger, if you could stay on a couple of more minutes, just in case anyone has any questions that may come up. But thank you so much for that.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
All
And I
right.
did put the link in the chat as well. I'll put it again because I think we have some more people coming on. But the link to the parents page is in the chat.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay, up next, we actually have Mrs. Lisa Nance, who is our science expert for middle school as well as high school, but focusing on middle school today. So, Ms. Nance, you're able to share your screen if you need to, and the floor is yours.
All right, well, welcome everyone. Can everybody hear me okay? Everybody
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes I forget to turn on my mic, sometimes I forget to turn on my screen. So we'll start here. Actually, I clicked the wrong button. Look at that. Okay, so what I want to do with you today is just make sure that you are aware of how you can access resources for yourself so that you can support your students whenever they come home, your babies. If you want to look and see where they are in their materials, if you want to support them in any of their readings, then I want to give you the access to be able to do that and show you where to find those things. First and foremost, you're going to follow the same path that you do as you followed with Mr. Vance. You're going to go through Caddo School's website, and there you're going to click on departments. And you'll see it here on the web page. It'll say departments, and I'll walk you through it in just a second in real time. Then you're going to go to where it says teaching and learning. And so whenever you hover over departments, it'll bring up that teaching and learning tab. Then you're going to go down here and you're going to click on that icon for science. And then you're going to go and click on that icon for middle school. And I got to move all these gadgets out of my way so I can see what you're seeing. This middle school science here. And then you'll see where it says student portal link. So whenever you click on that, you'll see a page that looks like this. And so let me show you in real time exactly what I'm talking about so that you can walk through it with me. So it's going to do. All right, so we're going to go this way. We're going to go to Caddo Schools. I often, if I'm have somebody show me how to do something, I need them to show me exactly what buttons to click and where. So if she shares that presentation with you, then you'll be able to follow those guides. But if she doesn't, then I'm showing you here. You just Google search Caddo Parish School Board. Then you go here where it says departments. If you hover, then you just drag straight down to teaching and learning. If you click it, it looks a little bit different, but the concept's the same. It'll take you to a page that has everything on there, and then you just can click teaching and learning from there. And then you scroll down to here where it says science. You got all your disciplines here on the same page, but this is where you're going to go to science. And then you're going to scroll down to middle school science. So we are here, and that page that I showed you just a second ago was a screenshot of this page right here. Now, what you will find on this page is that student portal link, that student portal access. So let me take you to what units you're looking for, and then we'll take you back to that student portal so you can see exactly how to get to those units of your for your children. So if we are in 6th grade, this is what we are looking at. We're going to start the year off with a unit called How Will It Move? And students are learning about force. They're learning about how do objects move in directions, and what if those objects don't touch? What is a contact force? So they're learning about how things move. That is going to go from August the 14th through September the 24th. So if I'm a parent and I want to support my children in that unit of How Will It Move? Well, I'm going to be able to do that by going to that resource that I just showed you. If I can get back to it on here. Give me a second. My escape button wasn't wanting to escape. There we go. So I'm going to click on this student portal link here. The student portal link will take you to the same place, regardless if you click for 6th grade, 7th grade, or 8th grade. But we know for a 6th grade unit 1, we're looking for how will it move. So we're going to click on that student portal link. We're going to get a password. That password was written right beside it. It's called Magnet25. And it's going to take you to a page that looks like this. I can't explain why Activate Learning didn't title the names of the units on this right side. But if you don't know and you're trying to find the unit, if you click on one, you say, well, that's not it, and we click on another one, eventually you'll find it. I'm telling you, How Will It Move is Physical Science 3. The thing about this one is they labeled it wrong here at the top, but this is How Will It Move. So if you're got a 6th grade student, this is the only unit that's miswritten as far as it being the wrong title, but all of the information is there for you to be able to support your child. So everything that you as a teacher might need. So if your student has a student workbook, which all of your students have student workbooks, every one of them has one in their classroom. Sometimes teachers want them to keep those in their classrooms just because sometimes babies will take those home and then they'll forget to bring them back. If you would like to see that because your teachers having their the students keep those there in their classrooms, you have access to that workbook right here on that student edition PDF document. And so that document will look like this. Not like that, look like this. And this is their workbook for How Will It Move? And it starts off giving them places to write their scientific principles. We always have at the beginning of every unit a phenomena that the students are trying to answer and a question to help drive that phenomena so the students can ultimately answer the question, how do things move? And so this is that first unit 1 for 6th grade. They're looking at a magnetic cannon and they're talking about how do the magnets on the cannon move from one point to another point. So it'll give them a video and the students are watching that. They're writing down their notices and their wonders, and then they're answering questions with their groups and with their whole class and with their teacher. So if you're the parent and you want to know exactly what they're doing, that student workbook has everything that the teacher is going to go through with them within that workbook. Now, what it also has, which is really great, is the Spanish version of that workbook too. So if you have a Spanish speaking child that needs to have access to the Spanish version, then they also have that available for you. Any of the videos that the teachers are using in their classroom with the curriculum are also on that student portal. These are the activity videos. So that very first phenomena, which was the magnetic cannon, this is what the teacher is going to either show them or actually have them do with their own magnetic cannons in the classrooms. Sometimes it's if the teacher's running short on time, they may show a video instead of actually giving the students those materials. We also encourage the students to use those materials and the teachers to use them, but sometimes, you know, if things get tight, then they will revert to that video. So you have access to show your students at home, maybe go through it again and ask them, what did they see? What did they wonder? What are some questions that they may have about that particular phenomena? And so these are those first 3 here at the top. And then any other videos that are included within that unit are also included in this section for the students. The final thing that you find, or actually 2 final things, any images that your teachers will show your students that come from those workbooks are also projected images are found within the student resource page. And then finally, the readings. There's lots of reading that takes place with Activate Learning. We do encourage the teachers to send those readings home for students to do it at home. So they have access to that PDF. If they're asking the students to do the readings at home, then they're going to send those workbooks home with them. But then you also have access to listen to what that reading is. So if your student is a struggling reader, then they do have the audio version of that lesson or each of those lesson readings. And so it'll tell you very clearly lesson 1, lesson 2, lesson 3, lesson 4. So those are all of the audio readings for that first unit of How Will It Move? So each of those units are here. So if you were on, let's go back here to our 7th grade. 7th grade is how can I smell things from a distance? So if I'm a 7th grade student, I'm going to be in this unit from August the 14th through September the 25th. As a parent, I want to be able to help my student with that. So how can I smell things from a distance is chemistry 1. Again, you also have that student edition. You have the Spanish edition of that student workbook, all the same activity videos, all the same projected images that go within that unit. And again, those additional readings that are also audio readings. If you are an 8th grade student, then you are going to be, how can I make new stuff from old stuff? And that is also found within that student portal link. Parents have access to all of those. Another document that is very beneficial, I think, for parents is the assessment guidance document. If you're curious about how your children are going to be assessed at the end of the year, this is the document that's going to help you with that. It'll show you the types of questions that the students will be asked. It'll tell you the point values of those questions and give you some examples and some sample items. So all of that is found here for the assessment guide. And that is, I want to give you just a good overview of what the students are going to be seeing this first couple of weeks and first month of school. So kind of look at those first units and where you as a parent can find the resources for those. And so if you have any questions, I don't really have anything else to share at this point, but I'm happy to stick around and answer questions if you have them.
I think that was very, very beneficial in knowing how to access those resources. And we will make every effort to link those assessment guides in a one-stop shop on the Parent Resource Center's website.
Now let me make it, I'm sorry, one more thing. I just reached out to LDOE today. Sometimes they make changes to those assessment guidance documents, and I asked if there were any changes because those assessment guidance documents that are up on LDOE's website are last year's assessment guidance documents. They have not updated those documents yet. And so as soon as they do, I'll let y'all know. I'll also update them on our website. And so that the parents, teachers, and students will have the latest version of those assessment guidance documents. But she did inform me that the changes that are going to be made are very minor tweaks and some support materials. So nothing's changing to the way the assessment is given to the students.
Okay.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you so much, Ms. Nance. Let me, well, no, I'll ask you something aside from this pertaining to science for parents. But thank you for that. We appreciate you. If you all have any questions, definitely feel free to ask in the chat. Those questions, Ms. Nance, if you have maybe a minute or two just to stick around, just to see if anyone has any questions pertaining to science, that would be helpful.
Okay, can do.
All right. So, thank you. Up next, we actually have Miss O2, who will explore a little bit with our ELA reading component for middle school. So Miss O2, you're able to share if you need to your screen.
Thank you. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Can you see my screen?
I think not just yet. And Miss Nance.
Yes, I see it.
Okay.
Oh.
Can everyone else see my screen? What are you seeing, Miss Lane?
I'm seeing still Miss Nance's screen for science. So Miss Nance, if you could stop sharing your screen.
All right, I see where I can share, but I'm not seeing where I can stop share. Just give me a second.
Okay.
I can leave and then jump back on because I had somebody ask me about the resource link. I wanted to share that resource link. I'm sorry, I don't see where I can stop sharing. Do y'all know where that is?
Let me see. Hold on, I think I have you.
Okay,
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to share now.
Okay.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We see it.
Hey, good afternoon, parents. I'm Esther O2. I'm the 612 ELA specialist, and I'm just going to go through with you today our resources, how to access them, and really how best you can support your students with success in ELA. So much like Ms. Nance and Mr. Vance, you can access our curriculum. The best way is to go through Cattle Schools, and I'm already here, but I will go home. Hover over departments, go to teaching and learning, and then click on English Language Arts. Okay, so when you come here, you're going to see down here all the grade bands. So you want to look for middle school and high school. You'll also notice there are some important links on the left side, in addition to a link to the Street Memorial Library. So if you like to get a library card, all this information is here. So if we go to middle school, you're going to see the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade resources here. To enroll in our Canvas Hub, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it for you guys because it might get overwhelming and confusing. It's for the teachers. But there's parent information here for each grade level, and there's curriculum information. So you can click on these links, and that's going to lead you to the information that you need. And so I'm going to go to 6th grade. And this is our first unit, our first 6th grade unit, Out of the Dust. And if you go here, it gives you an overview of the unit, the goals of the unit, topics and skills your 6th grader will be learning about, the tasks your child will engage in, and everything else. So you can have some knowledge of what students are going to be reading. And if you would like to even go ahead and front load some of these texts at home, and it gives you suggestions on how to deepen your child's knowledge on the topic being studied. You have a suggested book list, and they can read it at home. And it gives you some guidance around independent reading at home. The best way to strengthen our students' reading is simply by reading. So it's important that we're supporting those reading habits at home, so they get continuously that flow and they're able to build the skills they need. So this talks you through how to support them with that. And it doesn't have to be, they can read anything they want to read, but protect the time for everyday reading. And bedtime might be good. Read together, read aloud. If you're a reader, while you're reading, you can set some time aside and say, well, I'm reading my book. I want you to read your book. And you can have that time together. That's helpful. Okay, so if we go back here, our resources are listed here for high school. It will also break it down with planning tools, guidance, and our scope and sequences here. Again, I would recommend that you go directly through our curriculum page, which is the Louisiana Curriculum Hub, and I gave you a QR code, so it'll be easier for you to access if you want to go there now and try it. So if we go into the Curriculum Hub, Guidebooks is our curriculum that we use district-wide for 612. So once you enter, you're going to see all the guidance on here for each grade level. So if I go to 9th grade, it gives me all the 9th grade units that are available. Now, we're not doing all these units every year. So the district has adopted the units that we're going to actually engage in for 9th grade. So our first unit is the Teenage Brain for 9th grade. And once you go into that unit, you see assessments for the unit, the text students are going to read, there's the teaching guide here, there are materials, the sections, and it also gives you an overview of what the unit is about and what they're going to engage in. So you have all the information ahead of time. Now, this actual unit it's talking about teen brains and how they make decisions and how their brains affect their behaviors. So the students are really enjoying this because it's speaking to their own decision making. So that would be great to have some conversations with them around it when they exhibit some behaviors at home and ask them, well, how's your brain affecting this decision you just made? Right. So that's why it's good to know what they're doing so you can have those conversations and support them at home. Okay, so the units are listed out here. 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade. Now, for next year, for middle school, we have the new guidebooks that will be implemented, that will be rolling out. So it's not going to be a new curriculum. We'll still stay in guidebooks, but we have completely, it's being overhauled. We have new units coming out, and we'll send you the information once we get closer. These are the high school units that they're engaging in this year. So they're all on the curriculum hub for you to be able to look at. So how can you help your students succeed in ELA? So again, we go back to reading. Encourage reading at home, at least 30 minutes a day. And what this does is it builds stamina, slowly increase the amount of time they're reading over time to increase that stamina. Because sometimes what we find is when we get to standardized testing and they sit behind that test, they don't have the stamina to read for 45 minutes or for 30 minutes, or they just can't stay in the text for that long. So it's important that you time them, set a timer, and set a purpose for reading, or just have them write a summary, but that they can sit uninterrupted, no phone, nothing, just sit there and read and be engaged in the text they're reading. That truly helps a lot with building their stamina. It improves their vocabulary. As a district, one of
I was like, I'm only 2 minutes past my time.
as a district, our lowest area of performance when we look at our data is reading vocabulary that's in ELA. And our students are not reading. So that helps to address some of that, helps with comprehension and supports writing. Encourage type and practice. There's some free resources available at typing.com. So after they read, you can just say, well, type, just go ahead and type up your a summary on what you just read. And then take advantage of your school's after school tutoring programs or any other supports they may have in place for you. So that's really all I have for right now. The assessment calendar, I believe, is here and it's on the state site. I'm actually going to add it on to the ELA website so you can easily access it. And it lays out for the 24-25 school year when the assessments are going to be. And so you can start planning calendar-wise for when that's coming up. And if there are no other questions for me, that's all I have. Here's my contact information. If you need to reach me, feel free to email or call me. That's my office number. And that's about it.
Thank you so much, Miss O2. Excellent job, excellent tips as well, especially because I want to start using that with my boys, the setting a timer and building up again that stamina for reading. So thank you for that. Excellent
You're
job.
welcome.
All right, so Miss O2, if you can stay on for maybe a couple of minutes, just in case there are some questions.
Sure.
We would appreciate that in the chat.
Okay.
If you have questions, please put them in the chat. And then last but not least, we're actually going to have Miss Deck who will come on. Miss Deck is on deck, as Nicole said. And you will get to learn a little bit more about what your child will be reviewing for the first 9 weeks in social studies. So Miss Deck, you can share your screen whenever you get a moment. And we are ready for you. And I see you on there, Miss Deck. Okay. And you are on mute just in case I didn't know if you knew or not.
We see your smile.
Yes.
Okay, I think I got it.
All right.
Hang on one second. And they're gonna start around exploration, which is where they ended up in finishing in 5th grade. So 6th grade picks up with exploration and then on into colonization. And 6th graders get all the way through the Revolution and the Constitution. And then 7th grade picks up right where 6th grade leaves off. And they start with Washington's presidency and they go all the way through Reconstruction, which is around 1877 is where they finish. And then 8th grade again picks right up where 7th grade leaves off. And they will start with westward expansion right after Reconstruction, post-Reconstruction era, and then on into modern era, and they stop around 2008. And so some of you may be wondering, well, what happened to Louisiana history? Louisiana history is now spread throughout all the grade levels, all the way from kindergarten, all the way up through high school, U.S. history. So you will see your students, your kids coming home with some Louisiana content throughout all of those grade levels. And so where can you find information? So again, just like all the other specialists had shown you, you can go to the Caddo Parish website. I'm not real techie, so I usually just type in my search engine, Caddo Social Studies. And if you type in Caddo Social Studies, it'll bring you right to it. And so on the Caddo Social Studies website, you will see this square that says K-8 student readers Bayou Bridges. So Bayou Bridges is the new curriculum that Caddo has adopted for grades K-8. And so your middle schooler will have student readers at school. They have a class set. It won't be a book that they bring home, but they're little unit readers. So every unit will have their own book. But you have access to those books at home. So you can read those at home if you want to become familiar with what they're learning. If your child comes home and maybe they didn't quite understand the lesson that day, or maybe they were absent a day and they want to do some catching up, they have access to those student readers at home, which is so wonderful for us that we haven't had in quite some time. So that's really great for you to be able to look and see what your child is reading unit by unit. So all you have to do is click on that box. It'll take you right to it. So while you're on the Caddo Social Studies website, it'll look like this at the top. And on the right-hand side, you will see where it says elementary, middle, and high school. So if you click on middle school, your banner will switch to this, and you will see 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, them divided by grade levels. And so I'm going to show you a little bit closer look of everything that's there for you, everything that you're going to need to help your child at home. So this is what that looks like. And I picked 6th grade, but each one of the grade levels looks exactly the same. So at the top, you'll see a link that's the 2022 Louisiana Student Standards. So these are all the content and skill standards that your child will be assessed on at the end of the year for 6th grade. So if you click on that, you'll get to see a list of them, everything that they're expected to know and be expected to do by the end of the year. Also, there's additional resources. If you click here on the course frameworks, those are resources that have been released by the Louisiana Department of Education for social studies. So you can look at any documents there that may be put in front of your child at school, any kind of primary source. They can be secondary sources, but they're going to be there in addition to their Bayou Bridges readers. The Louisiana content the Louisiana Department of Education has partnered with a group called 64 Parishes. It's actually the Louisiana Endowment for the Humanities. It's a nonprofit organization, and they've developed resources for the Louisiana content that your child will see in their grade level. So 64 parish links, and I'll show you a little bit closer look at that in just a second. But that's where you're going to find the Louisiana content. And again, it's divided into grade levels on their website. Here you can look at the 6th grade pacing guide, and you can kind of see what this is what the teacher has in their room. This is kind of how helps them stay on pace. When are we supposed to start unit 2? When should we finish? And the teacher may be within a week or two of that pacing guide, but that way you can kind of know what unit your child is on. And then here, just like in some of the other content areas, the state has released some assessment items. So this will give you an idea of what the test could look like at the end of the year, the LEAP assessment. So you can do some practice questions with your child too, but it'll give you an idea of kind of how challenging that test might be at the end of the year and what they're expected to be able to do. And then again, here's just another link for Bayou Bridges, just to make it convenient. That'll take you straight to their website. The company that wrote Bayou Bridges is called Core Knowledge. So that'll take you right to their website. You can download all their versions for free. They don't cost anything to download. And then also there's an intentional planning guide here on the website that just kind of shows you what the teacher may be using to help plan their lessons and kind of what guides their thinking as they plan through each daily lesson. So every grade level will look the same, but that's just an example of what each one of those links will show you. So a little bit closer look at 64 parishes. Again, these resources are divided by grade levels. But if you go to 64parishes.org, or you just click on that link, this is what that'll look like. You can go to K through 12 resources. 64 Parishes also has resources at the high school level for the civics class. And so you can go to that, and then they're divided by grade level, and it'll show you each topic. And they're a really great read. Those are experts that they got to develop those resources. So we're excited to have them as well. So the skills that your child's expected to have mastered by the end of the year, they are the same from 6th through 8th grade. In fact, these are the same skills that are expected at the high school level as well. And so they are going to be examining sources daily, whether they be secondary, primary, or tertiary sources. They're going to be expected to determine the origin of a document, the author's point of view. Part of some of the shifts with the new standards last year was the students being able to look at different perspectives, being able to make a counterclaim. Not just a claim, but why would someone disagree with you? What would be the reasons for that, and what would be the evidence for that? One of the things we struggle with is vocabulary. And so like Miss O2 said, the more reading your child does, the bigger their vocabulary gets. And so we work on that in social studies as well, because we also have a lot of reading. Part of what they'll be doing in their social studies classes are comparing and contrasting multiple sources of the same event, and what were different perspectives of that event from different people. It depended on who you were. The availability of sources and how that affects our interpretation of history, and what is the difference between historical interpretation and historical fact. And so they'll also be looking at causes and effects, analyzing causes and effects of different events throughout history. And so that's kind of a tall order, but that's what your students are expected to do. And with the resources that we have available to us, this is gonna be no problem. I think they're gonna enjoy the content in middle school. We also focus a lot on the verbs that they will see on the state assessment. And so, as we teach content, we also teach skills daily. And so we oftentimes tell our students as teachers, we say, we're going to evaluate this, or I need you to explain that, or we're going to analyze this document. And do they really know what we're asking them to do? And so we stress to all our students in Caddo, middle through high school, this verb list. So they know that when it says on the state assessment, we need you to explain, they know that that means I need to make my idea clear, but I need to use facts when I do that. And so when we ask them to evaluate, we're asking them to form an idea and to judge. When we ask them to express, we need them to communicate or reveal. And so a lot of this is just verbiage that we just need to make sure is just commonplace for them without a second thought that they know what these words mean. And so a lot of teachers I know have given the students this list and they keep in their binder. So that may be something you see that comes home. And then also this year, the state has changed our writing rubric. And so you also may see in your child's notebook that they come home with something that looks like this, a writing rubric. And so it's very clear to the student what they're expected to do when they write. They're expected to make a claim. They're expected to explain that, make their idea clear by using facts. They're expected to use one of the sources that they see, and then they're expected to show evidence of some background knowledge, something that wasn't necessarily in one of the sources. And so you may see a copy of this that comes home with your child that shows them exactly what's expected of them when they write. And then this checklist that they can easily kind of check off. Yeah, I did this. Yeah, I did that. And so we're going to be working on writing a lot in their social studies classes as well. And just like last year, we introduced one of the new strategies that we're using really from middle school all the way through high school, is you may hear your child come home and say, oh, I got to hut this document. And so all that means is this is just a strategy to annotate a document to help them be able to pull pertinent information out of that document to be able to answer the questions that are being asked. And so all that means is HUT, when we say HUT, we're going to highlight key terms and concepts. And sometimes the students, maybe I don't know what's important. We say, oh, highlight the important stuff. And maybe they're not sure what the important stuff is. And so we always tell them it's the who, the what, the when, the why, the how. And so the teachers that's a skill to be able to develop. And so the teachers will go over that with them. We also want them to be able to identify words that they're unsure what they mean. So we don't want them to give them a document, ask them to read and annotate a document, and then some of the words they don't know what it means, but they're too uncomfortable to say, hey, I'm not sure what that means. And so we want to make sure we have that comfort in a classroom that they can say, I'm not sure about that word. And so we ask them to identify those words so we can go over them. And then the T is just tell me the answer. They're answering some sort of higher order thinking question that goes with that document. So if you see that come home or you hear your child say, oh, I've got to hut this document for homework, that's what that means. So most of our classrooms are using this strategy here. And so that's really all I have for social studies. Again, there's my office number and my email. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions for me, or if you have any questions right now, for me. I'm excited about this year. I'm excited about our new curriculum. I think the way, our standards are aligned this year, it's gonna be a whole lot easier. Everything flows in chronological order, that I think is gonna be a lot easier for our kids to make sense of things. And it doesn't feel like we're jumping around. So I'm excited about this school year. So that's all I've got.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Ms. Darcy. And we have a question. One question was, will the LEAP score be given this year since they did not receive them last year?
Right. So this past year, 23, 24, we had a field test. And so let me explain that a little bit too, because we don't get scores for the field test. We don't get scores on any of them. The field test was the objective of the field test was to test questions. And so right now the state has different committees that are kind of looking at the kids' answers, what questions were good questions, what questions were not good questions, and they're working through that to develop the new LEAP test. So we as a district, no one in the state gets scores from the field test. It was strictly to test questions. But yes, for this year, 24-25 school year, the students will take their LEAP assessment with the new standards and they will have scores, yes. And so
And
those will be scored in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Then we will also have the new test in civics. And for students that were already in high school, they will still be testing for US history as well.
Got it. Thank you. And then one last question. Someone asked, what does DBQ stand for? That you had HUT or DBQ? What was that an acronym
So
for?
DBQ are document-based questions.
Oh, okay.
So it may be a document and then the questions just go with that document.
Gotcha.
Document-based question. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, excellent job. We super appreciate you. We hope that parents, you all were able to take some great information for the first 9 weeks in order to better prepare your child or children for this school year. Now, we actually have and if you can stay on a couple of minutes, Ms. Darcy, just for a second, just in case, someone has any more questions in the chat. But in the chat, there's an evaluation that was posted for you. Please, everyone, please fill out the evaluation. That's going to give us a better understanding of how we can serve you all. All right. Are there any other questions? Okay, so if you're looking to see where you can pick up the resources, hold on, let me share my screen and what time Miss Marilyn will share that information with you.
Okay, middle school. For the middle school grades, we are going to give you an option. There's a resource that's called Versatiles. And Versatiles are a unique way to practice various skills for mathematics. We will have different right time books that will be available to help with the writing portions of English language arts. And remember, in social studies, they're going to be required to write, do explanations. And remember those words that were to the side that said they need to fill in facts. So we will have some books that are available, workbooks, that will be available for you to get if you are interested in them. However, they will not be available, unfortunately, until next week. And I apologize for the delay in having those resources. but there were some matters that were out of our control. So mark your calendar for Thursday of next week. And you can call the center at 603-6528 and just ask, are the middle school resources available for pickup on Thursday? And we will say, yes, the matters have been fixed and everything is ready, or we will apologize and say, please bear with us. But more than likely, they will be ready by Thursday. So please give us a call and just check before you come for middle school. We're located at 5800 West 70th Street, and that address is right next door to Turner Elementary Middle School. Please, if you're on Facebook, follow us at Caddo Family and Community Engagement. We post a lot of information there, letting you know when events are coming up and just sometimes some important information that you may need to know. Again, are there any questions?
And I think one last thing, if there are no questions, you are free to get off of this call. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. If you want to stay on a couple of minutes, we're going to show you how to access the videos that we recorded from this week, where we place them on our website, and they'll be up in the next week or two. Okay, so if you would like to jump off, if you need to, we completely understand. If you want to stay on, please feel free to.
Make sure you do your evaluations for us.
Yes.
So please click that link and do your evaluation.
All right. So to access our website for the Parent Resource Center, you start at cattleschools.org and you will go to services. You can click on it or hover over it. But you will find right there under services, Parent Resource Center. When you click on the Parent Resource Center, I'm going to take you to two different tabs briefly. One is our useful resources. And this particular tab, it links back to all the subject areas. So where the curriculum specialists were showing you how to get to ELA, math, science, social studies, we tried to make it a one-stop shop for you to be able to click there. But check out the other available things for you in that particular tab. Also, when you want to go back and look at the videos from today or from Tuesday, you'll go to In-Service Videos tab on our page. Click there. And underneath, you'll see the videos posted. Now, again, the videos from today and from Tuesday are not posted just yet, but they will be posted in about 1 to 2 more weeks. And I'm sorry, I know I said 2 tabs, but I'm gonna take you to one last tab, our events tab, okay? Because we have something pretty cool coming up. Nicole, I don't know if you want to unmute to discuss or talk about our event that will take place on September 7th.
Sure, I can. So, happy Taco Thankful Thirsty Thursday to you guys. I'm Nicole Howard Francis. I serve as parent educator for Family and Community Engagement Department. So, yes, we have something in store for our Title I families. We have our back to school explosion that's going to be held Saturday, September the 7th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It is our back to school overview. So we'll have different entities of Title I that will be represented, like McKinney-Vento, as well as our EL department, as well as our pre-K department. And we will have community partners as well that's going to provide information stations as well as different experiments. We'll have free food, free fun. You can come dressed up like Urkel. Okay, because our families matter. We want to let you know that sharing is caring, and we want to just provide resources for you. We'll have resources to give away that you can utilize at home, books so that you can expand your home library, and we'll have a wealth of knowledge that will be there from our curriculum specialists to, just like I stated, community partners. So we look forward to seeing your face in the place. Okay. Thank you.
And everything you did say is FREE.
That's right. It is absolutely free. So come out. It's at Midway Elementary School, right there on Greenwood Road. It's going to be a grand and great time, you all.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nicole. So that is that, everyone. We made it through a Thursday. We're a day away from Friday. So we appreciate you all. Thank you all, and hope to see you soon, especially at our back to school explosion. All right.
Wait, I want Miss Marilyn to say it. It's going to be
Explosion.
That's it. That's it.
All right. Thank you all. Have a great one. Okay. All right. Bye bye.